What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Seton Hill Studios. Hope you're having an amazing day out there so far. Today, we've got a request coming in from Paul. Paul, thank you so much for your generosity and support of the channel. It means so much to us. We are back checking out the amazing Buckethead. So we got to see the live version of Soothsayer and all the stories. You know, I called Buckethead a campfire tale from when I was a kid, because I had just heard stories about how awesome he was. And getting to see him play live was incredible. He's a phenomenal guitar player. So we are checking out a long one today. This is Jettison parts 1 through 6, and it is about 18 minutes. But you know me, if there's good guitar playing to be found, it don't matter how long it is. I'm excited to get in and check it out. Paul said there's a lot of cool layers to this, and it takes you on a fantastic musical journey, so I'm excited to dig in and check it out. But before we get going, a few ways you guys can continue to support the channel. Right down below, if you haven't already, you can hit that subscribe button. It's an easy and a free way to show some love. You can also head on over to Patreon and become a member there. If that doesn't work for you right here on YouTube, you can become a channel member. Both of those are going to get you access to priority requests as well as other perks and features. Then, as always, with a one-time donation through Buy Me a Coffee, you can get a guaranteed request either Steven or I will check out right here on the channel. Never expected, but always appreciated. All right, y'all, let's get into it. All right, folks, here we go. Buckethead, Jettison, parts 1 through 6. I'm excited to dig into it and see what he's bringing to the table this time. I know it's going to be good, so let's go. What a great tone. Love how he's building quarters on the kick there. I like this. So already we're like 2 minutes into it. It's already epic. It starts off with that clean, affected riff there, and just the hi-hats, and then he slowly starts to build in quarters on the kick, and you think it's going to be like a halftime thing, or at least that's kind of where my mind was going. And then he kicks into like this driving, snare, almost like marching band style beat. And then the distorted guitars come in and just lay down just a sick riff, and then it goes to like the halftime thing. So it's like already in like 2 minutes he's all over the place, but it's like it's super musical and it all makes sense. It just didn't happen in the order that I thought it was going to. But that riff, oh my gosh, that riff was sick. I'm going to take it back a little bit. I want to hear, he sounded like he was going into another section, but I want to hear some more of that first distorted riff, because those guitars just came out swinging, man. What a great tone, the clean tone and the distorted tone. Gosh. Those stereo guitars sound huge, man. Oh my gosh. Hey, I can't get over how thick his clean tone is. Like this part right here almost reminds me. I'm not a huge Tool fan. Like I don't listen to a ton of Tool, but like this section right here kind of makes me think in that vein. Just with the way that he's approaching the extra riff in there, he's doing like the kind of chunking, palm muting thing, which is like so surprising how punchy it is with how clean it is and the effects that are on it. But then you throw in that little, kind of legato hammer-on riff that he's doing with the other guitar, and it's like it just makes me think Tool, which is cool because Tool is also insanely talented and great riff writers. But man, he's already hit us with we're like 3 minutes in, he's hit us with like 6 great riffs. Oh my gosh! And this still says this is just Jettison of Part 1. My goodness, we're only one part of 6. Let's go. Got a great delay sound too. That was cool. Is that a synth in the back? I love how he's hitting that on an offbeat there. Hey, I know we're here for Buckethead, but you gotta point out all the good stuff when it's there. The bell of that ride on the drum set, oh my gosh, it sounds phenomenal. I don't know who's playing with them. I don't know what kind of drums and cymbals they are, but the whole production quality on all of this is fantastic. Obviously, we knew the guitar playing was going to be awesome. We knew the writing was going to be good. There was going to be some good playing, some good riffs. But yeah, the drums, man, when he came in on the bell of that ride in that section right there, oh my gosh, that's like the dream ride bell ping tone, man. Oh man, everything about this is good. So it looks like we're into part two. This thing is just flowing though. Like I don't know. Obviously, this is it's a six part of. I guess this song is called Jettison, or maybe the album or the. I think I called them Pikes. He said he had like hundreds and hundreds of like EPs or Pikes or albums. I can't remember exactly what you guys called them. But this is awesome, man. He's he's a great writer. He keeps it interesting. He's real dynamic too. Like the dynamics of all this has been real up and down, but it's all made sense. And it's been done really tastefully to keep it interesting. Yeah, this is great. I want to take it back a couple seconds and hear when those drums come in. The tone on these drums and specifically the bell of that ride is, whoo. Hear that? Oh my gosh. I love that run that they did together. He introduces this cool like riff over top. He's doing a lot of stuff where he's just palm muting, just kind of a static like power chord, and then he's doing all this different cool stuff over top of it. And so he introduces kind of this like rotating riff that's coming in, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, bass and drums, we're all going to hit it together, and then it sounded like he was about to drop into another heavy section. Man, this is good writing, man. Like I'm trying not to pause it too much, but there's like so many things that he's doing where I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. I want to hear it again. That too. His effects in this song are on point. His delay is just perfect. This is just it's really kind of genius how he's doing it. So he's doing something that seems simple, to keep it interesting. So there's a lot of like static one note palm muting stuff, and then he'll throw different riffs on it. And the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, there are a lot of implied chord changes kind of underneath that could be. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, what he's doing. He's implying them with the riffs that he's doing and the melodies that he's playing. And then he'll go through the section, and then several times so far in these first three parts of this Jettison song, um, he will then take the chord changes that he was implying with the melodies that he was playing, and then he brings them in before he kind of switches to another section, which I think is awesome. It's really it's like a genius way of taking one thing and being able to make it longer and do more with it and keep it from getting boring. It stays super interesting, because not everybody's going to hear it and be like, oh well, this chord could be there and this could be there, because like I said, it's kind of it's an undertone. It's kind of implied, but it can do without it, or it could be with it. And then he'll keep the same section going, and he'll bring some of those chord changes in, and it just it's really genius writing. It's very, very intelligent on his part, in arranging this in such a way, that he can keep a very similar vibe, imply things, and then bring them in later. And it's like, oh, I'm not crazy. Those were implied in what he was doing. Oh, man, this dude, he's a genius, man. He's not just a good player, he's a good writer, man. I like how some of the noise from his guitar creeps in from time to time. Hey, he's so smart, man. So he's got that main riff, and he'll run a pass through, and then the next pass through, he adds just a little bit to it, and then on the next pass through, there's a little bit more, and then at that point, he's added so many extra little things to it that on the final pass through, before it goes back to kind of its most simplistic form, he's just playing this super. Just this super technical, super heavy, super melodic riff, and it's like every measure, every pass through, he's built on it, and then he goes back, and then he does it again. And hey, I guess if you got this much music in you, it's no wonder you got hundreds of songs and albums out, man. God bless. Woo. I'm gonna try to run it back. I want to hear how he builds. The way he built that riff, it was so musically intelligent, man. So he adds that little bit there, changes it up. Rabbit foot action. Oh, here we go. Halftime in it. Dude he really is. He's a man. It's good foreshadowing, good arranging, good building. He was playing that riff, that palm muted chunky riff. The drummer starts in. I call it rabbit footing. That's just what me and Steven call it when you're kind of playing quick stuff with one, like repetitive stuff with one foot. And so he's going with the single, then he adds in the doubles, then he keeps the doubles, but he switches it up with his power hand to make it sound halftime. And it's all done while the guitar is still doing that same riff. Again, just more of the genius of being able to take the same thing and just put slight variations on it. And he took what could have been a 10-second section, turns it into 30 or 40 seconds. And it's interesting. It really is genius writing and arranging. Like this is good. Looks like that was the end of part 4. So we're about to get into part 5. All right. Whew. This has been, Paul was right. He's taken us on quite the journey here, man. Gosh. Those clean guitars sound so good. Love those hits. much of it. Marching band. It's again, it's such good writing, man. So they do these big hits. They're ringing out these huge distorted guitars there, and then all of a sudden they go into this riff that just hitting those big chunky power chords, palm muting them, and leaving all this space after there's been like no space. It's just been like riff after riff, long tones, and then out of nowhere they hit us with that change up kind of out of nowhere. And then it kind of came back into that groovy halftime. Then it went back into the driving, snare driven thing. And then now we're in like this section that is just like all this cool open space, which oh my goodness. There's so much musical content in this like was 16 minutes in, I think. This is like multiple albums worth of stuff, and he's just put it into a 6-part song. It's like 17 minutes. This is really it's just intelligent musical decisions. We haven't heard any like guitar solos, and we all, if you're watching this video, you already know Buckethead can play. Like, he can absolutely shred and just lay down some killer lead stuff. This has really been more of like just a display of how good of a writer and arranger he really is. Like, these riffs are killer. The melodies are great. The arrangement and the ability to constantly be changing it up and revisiting things, foreshadowing things, and then bringing them in is really just some genius level writing. This is great. All right, I'm going to take it back to the beginning of part 6 here, and I'm not going to pause it for the rest. Probably, maybe, no promises. I love that. Hit us with another one. Glad he brought that riff back. Is that it? Oh my goodness. Hey, I really am glad that he brought that riff back. Out of the whole 18 minutes, that riff might have been my favorite riff out of everything, and he brought it back for the end. I'm really glad he did. Hey, this one, man, shoo, that was worth every second of the listen. I think I I probably paused so many times I turned an 18-minute video into like a 25 or 30-minute video. But man, so many good riffs, great tones, great arranging, great writing, a lot of Tool vibes, a lot of Dream Theater vibes too, which Dream Theater is probably my favorite band of all time. So you're giving off Dream Theater vibes. That's a pretty high compliment for me. Just excellent all around. Again, it wasn't really like a big display of him out here just shredding and showing off how technically good of a guitar player he is. And I know he is that. He's phenomenal. But again, like I said earlier, this was just like him just putting on display how good of a riff writer, and arranger he is. I mean, he kept me hooked the whole 18 minutes. There was no point where I'm like, oh man, what's he doing? This is kind of boring. It was super engaging and interesting the entire time. I loved it. All right, y'all. What'd you think? If you stuck with me to the end, I commend you because that was a long one. But man, worth the listen. Super impressed with that one. I didn't really know what to expect going into it because I'd only really heard that little bit of Buckethead. I think it was Soothsayer live from the last video. So I knew going into it he was a phenomenal player. No clue that he was this talented of a writer and arranger. That really was. I mean, Paul, you were right. That was quite the journey. There was so many cool tones, so many cool riffs. Yeah, I am still glad that he brought that last riff back, kind of the riff that continued to build on itself throughout its 4 passes, and that's kind of how he closed out the song. Because I love that riff. Out of everything, I think, like I said earlier, that was probably my favorite riff, and there was a lot to choose from in there. So much good stuff. Super impressed with the band as well. I don't know who plays with him. I mean, shoot, he might have played everything. Who knows? Some people are just that good. They're in here doing it all, and then they just bring a live band with them. I don't know if that's him or not. The drummer was great. Bass player was great. The overall arranging was just phenomenal, which I would probably accredit to Buckethead writing and arranging all this stuff. But the production quality was also really good as well. I don't know if he engineered or mixed and mastered his own stuff, but just really just all around, just a great sounding, very well written project. Super fun to listen to. Kept it interesting the entire time. All right, y'all. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit that notification bell so every time we drop new content, you guys can be made aware. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.